Coming up today on World of Trucks, 8 men are vying for the prestigious honor of Best of Show from the Masters Ultimate Auto Expo. Coming up today on the World of Trucks, it's the Masters Ultimate Auto Expo from Chilhowee Park in Knoxville, Tennessee, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hello, everyone. I'm Claude Wood. The truck class here today, presented by TCI, you will see some absolutely gorgeous truck. A great example is this 1953 Chevy, and this is owned by Mark Kimberlin. And Mark, you've had this truck, as I understand it, a long time.
About 15 years. We got it about 15 yeyears ago. I was 16 years old. We needed another car, put some insurance on. So we ended up with that. It was a 3-speed on the tree, and learned how to drive a clutch with it. First clutch I ever drove, and we started about 5 years ago, and this is the first show we ever been to, and just trying to get our feet wet and see how good we do, you know.
Why did you put such a huge power plant in that thing?
It's all original. It's all the original sheet metal, so it's a heavy car, because they know how to make metal back then. And so it's a lot heavier than these fiberglass jobs running around and stuff, so we're shooting around about 800 horsepower or so, and, well, probably not 800. We're close to it, though, but never had it dying odor test or nothing, but it was just something we wanted to do for the family, and my dad's wanting to get out and show a little bit, and we thought we'd give it a try.
All right, how long did it take to get it in the shape it's in now?
Oh, I'd say 3 years hard, and probably add another 2 to that, off and on. So last 3 years, though, wide open every day. It's not something anybody wants to do unless you're dedicated to finishing up. We was up to Thursday night, 1 o'clock in the morning, then I got up this morning early, been cleaning on it, and it's like building a house. You can't go, but you can't go to Home Depot and buy something for this. You got to make it, and if you buy it, you're going to have to get it in there and make it work.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, guys, listen up. Are you taking notes? Did you hear all of this? Some good things to go by. Hey, you want to see some more excellent, great-looking trucks? Take a look at this.
It's a smoking hot 1955 late model Chevy that you definitely don't want to tailgate, because this one's got an exhaust system like you've never seen before. Okay, what do we have under the hood?
It's a ZZ4 crate motor. It's got aluminum heads on it. Puts out about 385 horses.
Wow, a lot of fun to drive on the street, I imagine.
That's a lot of fun. This truck, we decided not to put a fuel injection on it because we wanted flamethrowers. So
flamethrowers, explain that to me.
Well, what happens with the flamethrowers is I hit a button under the dash, and it sends the fuel through my exhaust, which ignites a spark plug, 2 spark plugs in my exhaust pipes, and throws flames out the rear.
Where in the world did you get that idea?
A lot of people have them. A lot of street riders do it, and my son's seen it, and he said, "Dad, we got to do that to our truck." So,
isn't that kind of dangerous?
Yeah, they're actually against the law in the state of Georgia, but you know, you get around rod runs and stuff like this, they typically let you do it a little bit.
Well, let's hope Georgia's finest isn't watching this program. Interior, what do we got going on?
That is tan leather. I put instrument panel in it that's digital Dakota dash. And the stereo system's behind the seat. I flattened my dash so everything's hidden inside there. So.
And this gorgeous luminous paint?
It is a Sitkins paint. It's a tri-stage paint, and you get this color by you keep spraying it. So I had to stand there with the painter while he was hitting it, and every time he sprayed it, it turned color. So we got it to this, and I said, "That's fine, stop. That's all I want."
How about tires and wheels?
Tires, I kind of I went with Krager's. The old style Krager SS's, because they were pretty popular back in the day. So we went 17s front and back on this thing with BFGs.
Wow. So this is just an all-around hot truck, whether it be the hot paint on the outside or the flames coming out the back when he pulls away. Be careful.
World of Trucks is being brought to you by Stainless Steel Brakes. Performance brakes built right by Stainless Steel Brakes, and by Lund. Get the look. Welcome back to World of Trucks from the Masters Ultimate Auto Expo, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, here's Griff Allen.
Now, when you think of Mazda, you might not necessarily think of pickup trucks, but yeah, they're in the Mazda repertoire, but they were nice little runabouts, and they got the job done, and they didn't really have a whole lot of style. They were more functional, but I'll tell you something. They've never been this low, they've never been this blingy, and they've never had Chuck get his hands on it. I got to shake your hands because this is impressive. Start with the fact that the thing is sitting on the ground almost. How did that happen?
Well, we have a NASCAR-style front end under it with NASCAR screw jacks, so we can raise it and lower it that way.
Oh, no kidding. Do you come into the garage at the end of every work day and turn the wrench?
Absolutely. Absolutely. After a hard day of work, that's what I need to relax and get through the day. We back half the rear frame. It's a solid mount rear end, but it is adjustable. We can raise it up and down just by simply using 4 bolts to it. So, and it's actually not as low as it could be right now.
All right, you mentioned the NASCAR suspension, and did I see a NASCAR fuel cell back there?
Yes, it has a NASCAR fuel cell. It also has 2 Optima batteries located underneath the bed of the truck.
All right, now under the hood, that ain't no Mazda engine, but among other things, I didn't see an alternator. You're running a total loss system?
Yes, we're running a total loss system. We run the complete electrical system off both batteries. It's able to get us through the weekend with cruising and everything that we do with it, so we don't really have a problem that way. The motor also has no belts and no pulleys. If you notice, it has no water pump on the front of the motor.
Yeah, so all electric then, huh?
Yes, all the water pump, everything runs off the batteries.
All right, now you've dragged this thing when it had a 4-cylinder in it, and you ran a what?
We went mid-80s in the quarter mile with the 4-cylinder, no laughing gas, just all motor.
Oh, that's awesome stuff. Okay, now the paint, inside and out. Tell me where the idea and the inspiration came from. Who did it?
Well, the paint work was done by a good friend of mine out of Akron, Ohio, named Terry Small. He did all the paint. Most of the fabrication work was done by another good friend of mine, Chief from Newton, North Carolina. It was my ideas, my design, my warped sense of humor, if you will.
And you know what? The detail here, it doesn't stop with what you can see. Apparently underneath you got a surprise.
Yes, the underside of the truck is just as detailed as the upper side. The flames that you notice that run through the floorboard of the truck actually run on the bottom side of the cab in the exact same place as on the cab.
I got to let you in on a secret. This might come as a shock to you, but you do have a gray hair or two. And you know what? Trucks that look like this are usually in the hands of kids that are just out of high school. What do they say when you show up bringing it like this?
Oh, they love it. They love it. And a lot of times they don't know until they actually see us at a show like this that we actually have something like this. They're used to seeing me in one of our other capacities where we're head judge for several of the largest sport compact mini truck shows in the nation.
And of course, being a judge, this guy's definitely going to know what to look for. He definitely brought his A game here to Knoxville.
A 1951 strikingly beautiful Chevy 5-window pickup truck, unlike anything you've ever seen before. Check it out. Underneath the hood, look at all that custom metalwork with the detailed airbrush. Where in the world did you get the idea for that?
Well, it was my idea, and along with the boy that done major renovations and everything on the truck. I'd like to take credit for bending all the metal, but I can't. I can take credit for doing some of the stuff, but not the major metal work. I can't take credit for it.
Well,
I'd love to. I can take credit for paying for it.
Sure, well, that's very honorable of you. Now, what kind of motor do we have here?
It's a 350 Chevy tune port, just stock engine, not been built or anything. Just
I'm sure that's putting out a lot of horsepower.
Well, it does pretty good. 700 R4 transmission, overdrive and everything. 9-inch Ford rear end with a Mustang 2 front end with a power rack.
Now, am I correct? Is that a Firebird dash that you got in the interior?
That's correct. The instrument panel is a 1988 Firebird, an instrument panel that's been cut and molded to fit to the old contour of the old dash.
Talk about a brainstorm. Where'd you come up with that?
Well, everybody comes up with different ideas, and everything. So you just, a lot of times if you got pieces and everything, you just adapt them to the other thing. The seats are out of a Firebird also.
Wow. And the ingenuity continues because it's a 51 5-window on the front half, but the back half is a 1995 Chevy?
1995 step side, full-size truck. The bed fit onto the stock frame and everything. Did not have to be cut down or anything width-wise or length-wise at all. It fit onto the stock frame. Of course, the molded steps and everything on it had to be taken off and filled in so that the old stock running boards and everything would tie into it and blend back. So it actually looked like it kind of came from the factory like that, but we know it didn't.
Well, the bed has just meshed beautifully with the cab. There's 44 years between the two, but they make a great couple. Almost sounds like Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore.
And this year for the Mother's Choice Award in the truck category, we're going to give it to Joe and Carol Keeney's 1971 Chevy Cheyenne 10 truck. Beautiful car. The engine bay is beautifully appointed with lots of chrome. The attention to detail is just dramatic. Also on the interior, you'll note that there's some great wood finish that matches the faux wood finish on the exterior of the car, the trim. Also, it ties in with the truck bed, a beautifully appointed truck, perfect choice award for Mother's Choice Award.
Want to see more great-looking trucks? Stay with us. We've got more for you from Knoxville. Welcome back to World of Trucks. It's the Masters Ultimate Auto Expo presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Now, Jack Korpela.
Well, a lot of the contenders from last year are flexing their muscles, but we found a truck that is new this year, mainly because last year this truck was nothing but a pile of parts. Check it out, folks. It's an immaculate 1953 GMC Hydra-Matic. Let's talk to the owner, Tom. You have outdone yourself with this one.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, these trucks back in the day, they were known for their torque, their power capabilities. It was a work truck. Where did you find such a piece in good enough shape to restore?
Well, a friend of mine, I used to go to the local car shows, and he mentioned that it was up in Harlan, Kentucky, in a coal mine. So I contacted the mine, and they said I could come up there and look at it.
Wait, a coal mine?
A coal mine. It was back in the sticks, and so I offered them an offer for it, and they took it. And then I had to get it out of the mine. That was the deal. So it took me a little thing to get it out of the mine. I actually gave less for the truck than I did to get it out of the mine.
Wow, so you lucked out there. I mean, sitting in a coal mine, that'd even be better than sitting in someone's garage.
Yeah, exactly, because the weather down there is solid. It's always the same climate, so the truck stayed the same the whole time.
Well, you certainly did find some gold in the coal mine on that one. Now let's talk a little bit about the motor. I know stock, these things came under 300 cubic inches. Mm-hmm. Looks like you've got this beefed up quite a bit.
Yes, this is a small block 400. It's about 375 horsepower to the rear end. Everything in it's custom made. I built everything on it, so I'm pretty sure it's a good running truck.
With all the handcrafted parts, what are you most proud of?
Well, mostly it's the interior. Me and my brother, he actually helped me with it, and he's in the military in the 278, and we finished it 2 days before he left.
Well, you've certainly done a great job. We'll see if it makes it to the top 2. Not bad for something that you found in the bottom of a coal mine.
It's time now for Product Highlight. A look at some of the most interesting and innovative aftermarket products for your truck.
Hey, we're here to tell you about a brand new invention called the Jet Rack. And, you know, we show you a lot of show trucks and a lot of pretty trucks and a lot of trucks that do no work at all on this program. But God intended for trucks to carry things and help tradesmen and workmen. And this is Eric and Jason Trusty, and they are the men behind the Jet Rack. And Eric, I'm going to start with you. What is it exactly that the Jet Rack does?
The Jet Rack is an entirely new ladder racking system that allows you to place your ladder up inside the vehicle instead of down below, getting tangled up in your tools like you would typically find.
Jason, I've never seen a Jet Rack before. Did you and your brother actually come up with this idea?
Yeah, we're contractors in Chicago, and there's a lot of snow and rain and all that other good stuff, but we needed a way to keep our ladders clean and dry inside our vehicles, and we use the ladder every day, so.
All right, Eric, we're going to let Jason show us how it works. Explain what's going on here.
Okay, as you can see, but he's going to do this too quick for me. He pulls the ladder down and out, and pop, there it comes.
You didn't have enough of time to even explain what he was doing.
Well, we typically tell people it takes about 2 seconds. Actually, it takes much less than that. As you can see, he's able to rotate the ladder sideways. Say a painter would want to get 2 or 3 ladders inside his vehicle. It's very easy to do. You take the tool hole on your ladder, and you place it on the pin there. You slide forward, the ladder is under tension, he releases, and it's in.
And what will this item retail for?
$79.99.
Well, we're hoping that you go out there, find that Jet Rack, and buy a lot of them because, as you can see, Eric and Jason could use a whole truck here. And whatever you can do would certainly be appreciated.
You know, back in 1955, Ford offered the F-100, and I'll tell you, it really didn't look a whole lot like this. And maybe the first thing that caught my eye was this blazing red. They didn't have the same red color code that the Dodge Viper offers. Well, that's exactly what you're looking at here. And it also, like I said, was a Ford. It didn't have a Corvette LS1 engine. I'll tell you what, take a look at that. Tucked in very nicely, and the firewall is very, very nicely cleaned up. Not a lot of junk, not a lot of garbage. And he's even carried the color into the runners here with the cross-flow intake for that LS1. Awesome stuff. Flush-mounted radiator, very cleaned up nicely. And Earl here, owner of this, has done the recess 4 inches or so on the grill up front, so it's given that menacing look there. Of course, the suicide hood, very, very nicely done, even down to the hood prop. Now come along inside here. The seats actually come out of a Plymouth. Now the center console and the dash work, well, Earl actually fabricated all that himself there. Of course, you got that low car look, and even the steering wheel. It's the telescoping steering wheel that comes out of a Cadillac from the late 70s. Well, the fun doesn't stop there. The doors, take a look at them. You can notice that, yeah, it's been chopped 4 inches, but also the doors have been shortened also. So the sills have had to be raised. So a little bit of engineering work there. Come on back to the bed here. And you know what? If I got to pick on this is going to be the only thing is that points off for not shaving the door handles. Otherwise, the suicide doors is a very nice touch, both sides. Now in the back here, the fenders are the only thing that's left over from 55. They sit atop these 20-inch rims, Boyd Coddington supplied, and they got 18s up in the front to give it a nice rake here. In the bed, the rest of it has been fabricated, very smooth, no seams, no corners, no nothing. And then the wood, oak, and of course the stainless steel runners. And I love this, the racing look back here. You could have gone with any kind of gas cap, but you know, he kept it authentic here. You know what? A great TCI showstopper here that you find in Knoxville.
We've got so many gorgeous trucks here at the O'Reilly Masters Ultimate Auto Expo. Picking the winners become a real nail-biter. Can you do anything for me?
Sorry, I can't help you.
Guess the judges have spoke.
World of Trucks is being brought to you by Honda, the power of dreams, and by Hallmark, built strong for the way you work and play.
Well, it was all a dream. Yes, Avery Clark thought up this machine 53 years ago when he made this drawing right here. And look at how beautiful it's become. It's sitting here on Champion Row because last year, not only did it win the Mother's Choice Award, but it also won Best Custom. And Avery, I think you're looking pretty strong for maybe a second straight year here.
Oh gosh, that would be like another dream come true.
Now, immediately with this car, the body lines are so smooth. Tell me about that.
Well, I think everything should flow together, and my dream as a young man was to be a car designer and or a test driver. And I've spent a lot of time doodling when I should have been studying in school, I guess. But anyway, it's just something that you learn through experience, and you try to make what I think should be flowing lines without sharp edges and corners, and try to make it in as much detail as you can, and hopefully you come out with a good design and or a project that you want, and more than that, I guess, that you're proud of.
Now, there are so many beautiful trucks here. This one, gorgeous. But what is it about this truck that keeps winning awards?
Well, I hope it's design and color, which is one of a kind. I went through 34 mixes before I came up with this formula. And to be honest with you, I call it the Avery and Susie color. That's my wife's name, and she and I both agreed on the same thing, so I said paint it. And so that's where this color comes from. But I wanted a color that was close to a color that I had on a pickup truck back in the old days, because I'm older than dirt. But anyway, that's basically it. And then when you look at the wood design in the bed, that's African satin wood trimmed in walnut. And that's kind of unheard of. And if you'll look, all the corners are radiused. There are no sharp edges. If you'll look at the steering wheel, it's built in 6 segments with a solid walnut ring. The horn button is a piece of the African satin wood and a starburst flare with a solid walnut ring. Then the console that I designed has the bed design on it, and it's trimmed in walnut. And then the pieces on the armrest I designed, and it's solid walnut and then routed out and then inlaid in African satin wood to keep the color. And you know, hopefully it all goes together.
You know, mini trucks are one of those things in the import sport compact culture that have stood the test of time. And you got to respect the fact that you don't need a whole lot of money to get into them. They're simple machines, but yet you can do so many things with them. And John, apparently you are the wrench on this thing that did a little work for Brian and did it very, very well. Let me start back here in the bed, which you've cleaned up very, very nicely.
It's a full sheet metal bed, 16 gauge. Me and him did ours together. Gas tank relocated over here.
All right, so you got that on the driver's side rail?
Yes.
All right, this used to be a Toyota Tacoma, but you dropped it with air rather than hydraulics, which have pretty much gone away unless you're into hopping and that kind of thing. But did you fabricate all the rest of what you did to the bed?
As far as the sheet metal, yes. The body drop and suspension work was originally done by Jody Hall in Pikesville, Kentucky at the drop shop, which we went back in and have reworked some to lay bigger wheels on it, the 18-inch Inky LM1s.
Yeah, they fit underneath there real nice, and they got just the right amount of bling there. All right, I want to come inside now. I notice, of course, yeah, it's for sale. A lot of them are. But the suicide doors, it can be a difficult thing for people to do and to do well, to do right, but apparently they line up right.
Yes, they do. And they was done by Eric and Matt Long at Custom Works in Union City, Tennessee.
All right, then, and I noticed the seats, you've gone away from the bench here, which, of course, a lot of pickups came with, and you went with buckets. They came out of what?
A Saturn, which we had them recovered in bone leather, done by David Korn, in which myself and Brian did the floor panels, the headliner, did most of the rest of the work in the interior ourselves.
All right, you slipped a minute ago. You said tweed, but let's go ahead and drill that down right now, is that you got it on the floor, and you got to love it because you can see the channeling work that you've done here, and, of course, you've even got it behind the headrests.
Right. It's also behind the headrest, in the headliner, the pillars themselves, the back B pillars as well.
All right, center console, very uncluttered, but I like the fact that you got the audio right there in the middle.
Yeah, it works pretty good to have somewhere to put it.
All right, awesome job, and it definitely looks definitely very good. I love the way that it's down on the ground. Now, John is here in place of Brian, the owner who couldn't make it, and I tried to talk him into trying to register as the owner to take home first prize, but he would have none of it. An honest guy who does an honest work.
And the winner, A.L. Clark's 1940 Ford.
It is a dream come true. That's all there is to it. And I don't know how many people have doodled about 3/4 of their life like I have, and I was doodling in school when I should have been studying. So anyhow, it is a dream come true. But I want to thank Masters and everybody. And I mean, you know, last year was not like this year. It wasn't near as hot. But all those that stayed and everything are to be congratulated. And let's think about it and go forward.
Now, for more information on products featured on today's World of Trucks, check out these websites. Join us next week on World of Trucks for the NMRO Mud Drags from Lima, Ohio. Until then, Claude Wood, keep on trucking.